up my toys when I was 2 or 3 years
Psychiatrists carried this lesson over into the post-war era. That is, if stress is the basic cause of mental illness in some form or another, then the logical place to treat patients was not in the hospital, but in the community before they had proceeded so far down the line that they required hospitalization. The assumption was that early treatment in community clinics, largely through psychotherapy, could prevent most psychiatric symptoms. So that beginning in the late 40s, there was a tremendous effort to found community treatment facilities. The difficulty was that no one then asked the question, what would happen to the hospitalized patients?
With the advent of these new tranquilizing drugs, it seems not too much to say that we're on the verge of an entirely new era in the treatment of mental illness.
The problem was that the public and the media picked up on these drugs as a kind of cure-all. The psychiatric drugs in the 1950s were equated with the introduction of antibiotic drugs such as penicillin in the 1940s, which basically enabled us to deal very easily with infectious diseases, and they were very unrealistic understanding of the uses to which these drugs could be pushed. The presumption of many people was that once you had these drugs, we would be able to simply close up the hospitals and send home all the patients.
While activists of the 60s took to the streets, legal battles to free mental patients were fought in the nation's courts. In 1963, President Kennedy proposed legislation that would finally unlock asylum doors.
The time has come for a great national effort. Nearly half of the 530,000 persons in our state mental hospitals are in institutions with over 3,000 patients, getting little or no individual treatment. Many of these institutions have less than half of the professional staff required. 45% of them have been hospitalized for 10 years or more. If we launch a broad new health program now, it will be possible within a decade to reduce the number of patients now under custodial care by up to 50%.
With the stroke of a pen, Kennedy launched the policy known as deinstitutionalization. As a result, the government would back clinics and halfway houses in the community where care was more humane and cost less. And so the forces of reform, which gave birth to the asylum, started working in reverse. Over the next 2 decades, more than 75% of St. Elizabeth's patients were released. In the eyes of a generation steeped in civil rights, liberty was finally restored to thousands who were locked away, having done no wrong.